Alrighty, guys. Good evening. I'm Ryan alongside Caleb, Michigan Storm Chasers here for our Monday Night Weekly live stream. This is going to be a quick one, I think. We have a few things to get through, but not a lot. Let's go ahead and dive in. But before we do, I want to shout out the sponsor and also the chat here. First, our sponsor, StormGuard Roofing and Construction. They are based out of the North Detroit metro area. They do roofing and construction needs across Macomb, Oakland, and northern Metro Detroit areas. You have to give them a call, 248 609 6211. Thank you to StormGuard for sponsoring the video. We have chat in here. We got Nathan, we got Trisha, we got Penny, Julie, Katie, Cindy, Danielle. What's up, guys? Good to have you in here for the stream. Let's go ahead and dive right on in here. So let's go ahead and start with the elephant in the room, lake effect snow potential and cold midweek. It was warm today. It was warm yesterday. It's going to be I can say warm tomorrow, but it won't be as warm as it was today and back on Sunday as well. We're going to drop off here into the upper 30s tomorrow. Here's your temperature graph based out of Grand Rapids. We're going to see tomorrow's stat is going to be 40 degrees for your Tuesday. Wednesday will be 34 for a high. And then as we get into Wednesday night, into Thursday and Friday, we're going to drop off once again with a brief blast of Arctic air for your Thursday, Friday. Doesn't last long, though. We're going to rebound right back up into the 30s, perhaps upper 30s for portions of Michigan by the time this weekend rolls around. That's going to stick around into early next week as well. So it's not going to last long, but it's going to be impactful here as another Arctic blast of air comes in. With that Arctic blast comes potential for, yes, freezing roadways and, yes, more lake effect snow. Let's go ahead and dive in. So ARRR model here, looking at the current activity as we move into the evening tonight. The activity in the UP, northern lower, continues to move eastward. It leaves us with lake effect snow showers up in the UP. Nothing significant, but as we move toward that Tuesday evening time frames, our winds will shift out of the northwest, and it will promote lake effect snow as our warm lake waters combine with that cold Arctic air with a little bit of a lift in the area. It's going to get lake effect snow showers cranking again for our lake effect belts. The model here begins this late Tuesday into early Wednesday morning. Should I say late Tuesday evening into early Wednesday morning? So that's the time we start to see these lake effect bands take shape. It should be in full effect Wednesday, and that should continue through Wednesday into Thursday, perhaps Friday as well. So at very least 2 days of lake effect snow here for our belts. There's already winter storm watches in effect for the western part of Michigan, northern lower, most of the UP as well. They're going with 4 to 12 inches of snow. Although for right now, bottles are just becoming into range for your Wednesday period. And as such, our confidence is not very high. We have not released snowfall maps for this event. We will tomorrow, so stay tuned to that. We're going to be probably pretty much in line with NWS between 4 to 12 inches for the watch area. I do think there's potential for snow other places as well. Like, for example, the thumb of Michigan, we could get a few inches up there. Huron County, Huron, Sanilac, perhaps Tuscola County as well. You guys getting in on the action up there. Snow showers elsewhere, perhaps in southeast Michigan again. It shouldn't accumulate much, but it will likely accumulate for a few inches in some spots. We'll have a full forecast package out tomorrow, right around noon for you guys, so stay tuned for that. But again, lake effect snow is coming, and with lake effect snow is your Arctic air mass. Let's go ahead and switch over here to the NAM model here. Let's go ahead and take a zoomed in look at our Midwest. There we go. So we have Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois. Let's go ahead and run this through the time frame here. We're going to slide this up. There we go. This is Tuesday morning. This is wind chills. This isn't your temperature. This is your wind chills. For the day on Tuesday into Wednesday, and look off to the west, northwest, there is your below zero wind chills zooming in from Wisconsin, Minnesota area. This is Wednesday evening, and that's going to penetrate Lake Michigan. Luckily, Lake Michigan will save us for the most part, and that's because of the warm lake waters there. So it won't be as cold as across the pond in Wisconsin and Minnesota, so we can thank Lake Michigan for that. Unless you live in the Western UP, then you're going to be cold too. Apologies for Western UPers. Overall, wind chills Thursday morning are going to be bitter. We're talking probably at very least single digits, if not areas sneaking below zero. We see that best potential up there in the Western UP. And by the border of Indiana and Ohio, we have -3, -2 across Monroe, Lenawee, Hillsdale, Branch, St. Joseph, Cass. The whole entire county row below 94 there are in a below zero wind chills there. That won't last long, though. Thursday will be bitter. It'll be windy as well. We may need to break out the trash can window meter for our Thursday. We'll have more on that later for those of you who know what we're talking about. But it's going to be a pretty much a repeat of last week when we had that really big blast of cold air. Things froze over, followed by lake effect snow. Very, very similar pattern here, although I wouldn't expect there to be a severe snow squall this time around like we had last time. So luckily, it looks to escape that. But regardless, it will be cold. It will be snowy. After that, we're looking back to their temperature graph. We're going to warm back up for the weekend. Lake effect snow should die down by about Saturday-ish, perhaps Friday at the earliest. But it's going to warm back up there. The pattern continues into the weekend, into early next week. We're going to see mid-30s there. This is, again, based out of Grand Rapids, be different across the state, but we're not going to be looking at those bitterly cold Arctic air temperatures hanging around for too long. With that being said, we're going to go over here to the climate outlook here. We're going to talk about long-term. I will say the end of the week, I don't expect any more snow chances. We should be a pretty dry weekend for us, but we are looking to the future. We'll talk about that here in a second. But before we do that, temperature forecast from CPC does have most of the U.S. in above average temperatures. What is average this time of year? Average temperature for Michigan, right around 34 degrees as we move toward mid-December. That will continue to drop toward 30 degrees by late December. Anything above 34 degrees currently is above average and will be shown on this map as red or orange color. Just because you see red does not automatically mean 70 degrees and sunshine. No, this is based on averages. Okay? Looking at the future cast here off the GFS model, we're going to go ahead and go back on the European. Let's go to the European. This is a little bit better, I think, of a picture here. Let me bring this up here. There we go. System 1 moves off here. Then you see lake effect snow. That's going to continue. And then we're going to watch the mid-December time frame for system number 2 moving up. This is going to bring rain and or snow for a good chunk of lower Michigan right around December 14th. So next weekend, this is a system to watch. Right now, it's shown as both rain and snow. Keep an eye on that. Going into the future, these active systems continue with another one popping up here right around that December. Actually restarted. Hold on. Let me back this up here. There we go. Back this up. We're going to see system number 2. There we go. There's your system. We just talked about that. We're just going to continue on into mid to late December. We're seeing another system here around the 17th. We're all going to keep on going. We're going to see more snow, more systems potentially working through. And this model, we're in fantasy land here. We're starting to get these systems to show up on these models around that Christmas time frame. The overall takeaway I'm trying to share with you guys here is the active pattern is going to continue likely through December and even toward that Christmas time frame. I know a lot of people are asking, what's Christmas going to be like? It's going to be snow, white Christmas, green Christmas. Still too far out, but I do think, number one, we're going to be active. So if we can get cold enough, I do think the snow potential for a white Christmas is there. It just needs to be cold enough. As we see, some of these systems are kind of split with rain and snow. It's pretty typical for early winter. That's usual. But if we can get cold enough, I think we're going to have a shot at a white Christmas here in Michigan. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll have updates on the page for you, but still a little bit too far out to pinpoint. But we'll keep an eye on that. Going into the future, the week 3 to 4 temperature graph here off of CPC shows equal chances for both above and below normal temperatures. That means we're going to be right around that freezing mark, they expect it to be at least, throughout that last part of December into early January. And that lines up pretty well what we're kind of seeing as well. I will say I think the end of the month here into January is looking very, very cold. We'll see if that continues to trend that way. But I would expect there to be a little bit of a cool down toward later December and to start our new year off in 2025 with some below average temperatures. So keep an eye on that as well. With that being said, that is all I got to share with you guys. Do we have any questions? And Caleb, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. Really, the main takeaway here is that we're in a very active pattern. The jet stream is very wavy, which is termed a meridional flow. What that means is it's going to remain active with lots of chances for both rain and snow throughout the month of December, including around Christmas time as well. Still too early to know exactly what it's going to do on Christmas or around Christmas time, whether we're going to have snow or rain. But we are watching a few systems around that time frame, and we'll know more as we get closer and once that data becomes available. Right now, it's just trends. But once we get data, those trends turn into data points, and from there we can get a forecast. So more data to come in, and we'll have that information here over the next couple weeks. And fingers crossed for a white Christmas. To get a white Christmas, the National Weather Service says we need to have at least 1 inch of snowfall on the ground for a white Christmas. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, that's for sure. Go here to chat here. We got Axe in here, Crystal in here, Megan in here. Good to see you guys. What is up this evening?
Caleb, I want to shout Sarah out here from St. Joe County. How does that part of the state look for accumulation? So thank you, Sarah, for the $5 super chat.
Absolutely.
So right now, St. Joe County down here in Southwest Michigan is on the very southern fringe of what we expect to be the lake effect banding.
Mhm.
I would expect there to be some snow showers, but I think the heaviest accumulation will be off to your north, pending any significant shifts in the wind that may bring these bands further south towards you. I would expect a few inches of accumulation, but I wouldn't expect anything more than six inches right now.
Yeah, winter storm warnings are currently to your north. I don't currently, or winter storm watches rather, are to your north. I don't expect St. Joe County to be in a warning right now. And a lot of that has to do with the wind direction. If the winds shift more out of the north, that'll include St. Joe County in those heavier bands. But right now, the winds look to be more northwest. That'll keep the heavier bands just to your north. But those models are just coming in the range here. So we'll get a better idea what those winds are going to do here over the next 48 hours or so. So we'll have an updated snowfall map in the coming days as well to cover that lake effect snow. So
I'm trying to bring in the alert map here, but my computer had other plans.
I can pull it up here.
I can get it. It's just I need to go back and reload it. I'm already on it.
Well, he's doing that. We'll go back to the comments here. Any of the questions you guys have here, put them in the chat. They can be about forecasts. They can be about snow. Even weather related as well. There's the current map here. You can see in the dark blue there along western portions of Michigan of the LP. Those are winter storm watches, as well as the northern UP as well. From Alger County all the way over to Gogebic County. Those are all your winter storm watches.
And those are valid now. They don't have a start time. Watches, when they go into effect, are just like tornado watches or severe watches. They are current. It just usually it's about issued with winter time. It's issued about 48 hours in advance or so of incoming winter weather. They'll change into advisories and warnings as we get closer.
Yep, as that data becomes available. I do want to give a shout out to Sarah here. Got a $2 super chat there, or super sticker there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it as always. All right, I don't see any questions in the chat here. Do a brief recap here. We're going to see an active pattern here throughout the month of December. We just had this ridge. We just broke a pattern change, which had been persistent across the Great Lakes region really over the past 2 weeks, which has brought an Arctic air mass that really just was stubborn to move out, that brought prolific rake effect snow that was just nonstop over the last 2 weeks. Quite incredible, really. Some areas picking up over 40 inches of snow, even close to 50, which is crazy for this time of year. We're going to see another shot of cold air come midweek, much of the same pattern that we had last week. However, this is going to be much more short-lived, really only a span of 3 to 4 days. So though it's going to hit hard, it's going to feel like a slap in the face compared to what we had here over the weekend with temperatures in the 40s and 50s across parts of the state. However, the good news is short-lived. We're going to have a brief warm-up by the weekend, and then we're going to remain in this kind of up and down pattern throughout the month of December, which is going to bring snow chances and rain chances through the month of December and into January. So that's pretty much the brief synopsis of the pattern that we're in right now. So chances for both snow and rain. We'll just have to see what flavor we get when those systems do come down the pipeline and that data becomes available for those.
Is mid-Michigan going to get some snow on Thursday? Possibly, Sarah, possibly. Yeah. I would expect, depending on where you're at in Michigan, it's going to vary, but I do think snow showers, again, are likely for a good chunk of Michigan. It's just going to accumulate a lot better for lake effect belts on West Michigan and Northern Michigan as well. But again, Southeast Michigan, like Detroit areas, mid-Michigan, like Lansing, Mount Pleasant there, 127 corridor, you'll see some snow showers, I think.
Maybe a few scattered showers, but widespread accumulations look unlikely at this time for Southeast lower. Hopefully we get a good widespread snowstorm for you guys if you guys are feeling left out down there. We'll have to see what comes.
Kalamazoo County is under the winter storm watch, Ryan. So I would expect the watch is in effect for 4 to 12 inches of snow. So anywhere between that, it's a good guess. We don't have official forecast out yet. We'll have one out tomorrow morning for you guys. Our confidence is still low in exact like corridors of higher or lower accumulation. So we'll have that out for you guys to look at on Facebook. We'll do a YouTube video again tomorrow as well. It kind of dives a little bit more into the expectations. But Kalamazoo County is included in that in the winter storm watch for Wednesday and Thursday especially.
Yep.
Skylar asks, can southwest winds create lake effect snow?
They can, however, it takes a very unique setup for that to happen. Southwest winds out of the south, are often your warmer winds. However, if you get a setup, especially in the middle of wintertime, where we get clipper systems, those come after we already have a trough in place. That cold air is already set. And a lot of times in those clipper systems, you have a counterclockwise low, so your winds are counterclockwise as well. So on the forward motion of that storm, winds are out of the southwest ahead of that low. So if you already have a cold air mass in place and those winds are out of the southwest, sure, you can. But normally those events are brief before they switch back to northwest. We actually had southwest lake effect snow bands last week across northern lower as the clipper system moved across Canada. That's what brought us that cold shot of air, the coldest air of the season last week, especially northern lower, even Mackinac. And over by Sault Ste. Marie, too, saw some bands out of the southwest. So it is possible, usually short-lived and not quite as long-lived as your northwest bands. But, yeah, it happens. But you got to have cold air for that.
Dawn asks, when it says southwest or northwest or east winds, does it mean the wind is blowing in that direction or from that direction?
From that direction.
Yep. So we always talk about west or northwest winds. That means they're coming out of the northwest, blowing to the southeast or east if they're west-east.
Yep.
Red Dozer back again with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Red. Appreciate your support, as always. Trisha asks, do you think that January will be more steadily cold? I'm going to say yes. Based on data we see right now, it's hard to say long-term, but if we had to take a stab at it right now, I'd say yes.
It's trending that way right now. We'll have to see how that data evolves as we get closer. Right now, it looks like a really deep trough looks to set up shop in the eastern half of the U.S. come late December, early January. But right now, we'll have to see how that evolves. A lot of times, models that far out like to put patterns in place, but often you see shifts and deviations in those patterns as the data becomes available and as we get closer to it. A lot of people last year were saying, oh, January is going to be frigid, but we kept seeing that pattern get pushed back a week or so. So we'll just have to see as we get closer on how that pattern evolves. Right now, it is trending colder. We'll just have to see if that trend continues.
We'll show you guys this as well. We are seeing the European extended run here. We're seeing that warmer end to December on this, but it's trending cooler, especially as we get to that January timeframe. All this warm above average temperature goes away and it becomes cooler into that first part of January. So around that New Year time, late December, we're seeing that pattern flip here on the models. We'll have to see if it verifies. Like Caleb just said, it can get pushed out, but we are seeing models start hinting European, GFS extended. We're seeing a lot of these long range models start trying to hint at a cooler and more active January on tap.
Yep. All right. Any other questions you guys have here? Again, thank you guys for joining us here. Always appreciate you as always. Great to have you in here and hanging out here on this Monday night.
Scrolling back up here. How much snow do you think North Muskegon will have by this weekend? So, Lynn, that's a great question. And lakeshore counties and lakeshore towns like Muskegon or Holland or Saugatuck, they're always very hard to predict. And that is because warm lake air can influence totals and also wind direction
early in the season.
Yes, so it's going to be a toss-up for you guys right now. I do think you're going to accumulate some snow. I would expect it to be less so close to the lake shores, given that this is more of a northwest flow. If it was more northerly oriented, we would probably accumulate more along the lake shore. But given this is northwest, it's going to blow those lake effect bands a little bit further inland, and also you're influenced by the lake there, so it's going to keep you a little bit warmer and harder to accumulate any more snow. So I'm going to say less totals than you would have, say, 10 miles inland.
Yep.
And that goes for any lake effect or lakeshore county or town as well. Sometimes
once we get later in the seasons, as long as the lakes are ice free, let's say late January, if we have open waters It's easier to accumulate closer to lakeshore because your water temperatures went from now in the mid upper 40s to then in the mid 30s or so. So those lake waters are a lot colder. You have less influence there near shore. So late season, it's easier to get lake effect snow, especially across the shore, versus early season where there's warmer waters really influence the air temperature close to the lake. So a lot of times the precipitation falls as a mix, rain, or graupel, and that really cuts down on your snow totals. So a little bit of a science to it a little bit.
See a question here for the Lions forecast on Sunday. They're playing at Ford Field, aren't they? They're playing the Bills. I believe it's at Ford Field, but if you're going to Detroit, I would say right around 40 degrees and probably, I'm going to probably say cloudy. I don't think there's going to be any snow or rain to deal with, though. Can you imagine if the Lions would play Buffalo in Buffalo while it has like effect snow going on?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be funny.
That'd be legendary.
Just a couple weeks ago, they had to do that. I don't know if I remember who they played, but Buffalo had to play and all that. And that was a fun game to watch.
I can't remember who they were playing too, but I was wondering if it was during that time frame where Ontario, just to the north of Buffalo, was getting a thunder snow outbreak. I was wondering if I was starting to wonder if that band was going to develop lightning over Buffalo, and if we were going to see a lightning delay there. I'm like, that'd be insane. Just as how convective those lake effect bands were at the time. That was in the back of my mind. Never happened, but I was waiting for it.
Caleb actually texted me saying, hey, it'd be really cool to see, the game get delayed by thunder snow. I don't think it's ever happened before. Maybe it has. I don't know, but
only weathermen get excited about such things. Every other sports fan would be probably disappointed, but not us.
All righty, guys, we're going to wrap things up here. If you want a recap of the upcoming week in detail, go ahead and restart the first 10 or 11 minutes of the video. I'll go ahead and recap very briefly here. Starting with, we have winter storm watches in effect for portions of Michigan, especially on the west side and northern portions of Michigan, the UP up there, and then western lower Michigan. 4 to 12 inches of snow is going forecast. It could be less, be more in some spots perhaps. Going into the future, we're going to see the lake effect snow machine kick back on here late Tuesday into Wednesday as these winds shift out of the northwest. It'll promote lake effect snow over our warm lake waters here for at least a day or two throughout Wednesday, Thursday especially. Should die off sometime on Friday. That will continue to move out. Leaves us with some drier conditions for the period here. But as we look at the wind chill temperatures here, we're going to be looking at a very big blast of Arctic air moving across the upper Midwest into Michigan here around that Wednesday evening, late Wednesday evening, early Thursday morning time frame. So perhaps less impactful here because most of us are going to be sleeping. But again, Thursday will be very cold regardless. It's just going to be really frigid when you wake up there Thursday morning with wind chills flirting with 0, if not below 0, especially in the western central part of the UP and southern lower Michigan by the Indiana-Ohio border. Past that, we're looking at an active pattern in the long term. We have another system we're tracking for mid-December, around the 14th or 15th. Also tracking around the 17th and 18th, and again toward Christmas as well. A pattern flip could take shape to end the month and to start the new year as well. We're going to have more on that as we get closer. But for right now, we're going to take it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time. Well, a full forecast package out for you guys for lake effect snow and also the cold as well out tomorrow morning or shortly after that, tomorrow afternoon at the very latest. So with that being said, you guys got any final questions? I look to chat here, which I don't see any. But we're going to pop out of here. We'll catch you guys likely perhaps tomorrow or Wednesday for a briefing on the lake effect snow for those impacted. All right. With that being said, we'll catch you guys later. You guys stay safe, and we'll see you guys later.